Next, we have Dr. Sonia Zarate. So, Sonia, I met a while ago while serving on the SACNAS Board of Director, which SACNAS is a different science society. But today, she'll tell you about the many hats that she wears and how her career, how you guys can learn from her career path.
All right, thank you so much for the invitation, and thank you all for coming to hear us speak. So I'm going to take a little bit more practical approach, and I'm going to walk you through the process of what my days look like. And in that, I'm going to revert back to what I was doing as a graduate student that led to those positions, and so things that you could potentially do now. Disclaimer too, I also did a couple of postdocs, and so some of the skills that I picked up as a postdoc also helped, but I can also let you know that those skills you can pick up as a graduate student if that's where you're at right now. So yes, the title of my talk is How to Love What You Do and Be Good at It, Being Competitive in the 21st Century Job Market. And so I just want to thank Dr. Clifford for setting us up so well. And really what that title is supposed to embody is, this idea of values. And so I have a driving value in everything that I do, so it really doesn't matter what my job is. Ultimately, what I want to do with my life is to change the face of science and diversify it. I'm a first-generation college student. I'm a first-generation American. I'm the only person in my family to have an advanced degree. And the mentoring that I received as an undergraduate and a graduate really opened up my world. And so for me, that is the driving force behind everything I do. So it doesn't necessarily matter what it is that I'm doing, because I'm gonna insert that into what I'm doing. So, a day in the life. So currently I am here in beautiful San Diego. I've been here 2 years. I came from UCLA. And I can still say that it's gorgeous. Every single day that I wake up, I'm just feeling very, very blessed. And so I direct the Office of Undergraduate Research on campus. The University of San Diego is a liberal arts, private, Catholic institution here in San Diego. And so I have the privilege of being able to mentor students from all disciplines, not only science. And so prior to that, I was working at UCLA as their associate director for the Office of Undergraduate Research, or the Undergraduate Research Center, specifically for the sciences. And in both those positions, the majority of my job was to teach the next generation how to be scientific leaders. And that not only included the proficiencies that Dr. Clifford spoke about, but it also included leadership skills and other skills that people are looking for in the job market. So day in the life, I get into the office. I am still writing grants. So even when I got to San Diego, I wrote an NSF REU to be able to extend that pipeline and be able to bring community college students to USD to do research during the summer. So that grant writing ability that I learned as a graduate student, so I am both an NSF pre-doctoral fellow as well as a Ford Foundation pre-doctoral fellow. So even thinking about applying for those type of pre-doctoral fellowships that will fund you through graduate school, in addition to getting that monetary compensation, that feather in your cap as one of the fellows, you're also picking up those skills that you will need for a position like mine, so grant writing skills, right? And even if you don't get it, just the fact that you've applied and know the process. That was one of the first questions that I was asked when I interviewed at UCLA. Have you written a grant? We see that you've done this NSF pre-doc. And I could say, yes, I'm comfortable with maneuvering, Fastlane. I'm comfortable with maneuvering grants.gov. I'm very comfortable with that. And so that was part of what I did and what you could potentially do to get a position like mine. And so, I write grants. I'm still conducting research. I think because my research is more human subjects now, I'm looking at the efficacy of undergraduate research programs, specifically mentoring that happens as a part of these programs, and what they do. What is the impact of them on students and their academic and professional trajectories, because ultimately I would want all students to go on into graduate studies and beyond in science. And so I'm looking at that impact. So it's a little bit different than what I was doing as a PhD and a postdoc, which was molecular work. So I studied innate immunity as a postdoc and as a grad student. But still, the idea of loving data and feeling data starved because I'm no longer at the bench, and so part of that is what drives that research that I'm doing for both the Undergraduate Research Center at San Diego, and I'm still even working with the UCLA group on publishing a couple of papers on that impact. So research skills, absolutely applied. People want somebody that's going to come in and is going to be more than just an administrator, somebody that's going to set up programming or party plan, like that glorified party planner. That's not necessarily what they're looking for. They're looking for someone that's going to assess the impact of their programs. Are they making a difference? How can we optimize them? What can we sunset? What can we get rid of? So research skills became very, very important for my position as well. Teaching. Always teaching. So as a graduate student, I was required to teach one term, but I ended up teaching multiple terms just because I enjoyed that interaction with students. Teaching is a lot of what I do in both of these centers. I teach students perhaps not always just science, but more leadership and professional development skills. But regardless, having that ability to interact, create curricula around promoting students is going to be an important one. And so I know for graduate programs, you can teach. You're also able to teach outside of your own university and your own program. I taught at the local community college. I also taught at the local CSU, so I am a California native. So I also taught at the local CSUs in addition to the UCs. So it is something that you could potentially do as a graduate student. That being said, I had very supportive mentors. And so my mentors always promoted me and allowed me to do these types of things. So, and in addition to that, I guess it would just be the administration skills. And I think that some of the feedback that, or the tips that we've gotten so far in terms of volunteering, you have the potential to volunteer at your own university, you have the potential to volunteer with your scientific societies, take on a leadership position, and even in your community. That would be another great place to pick up these administrative skills, how to manage others, right? How do you supervise? You could even do that while you're mentoring undergraduates in science research, right? So that type of administration where you learn how to interact with others, where you have this ability to be emotionally competent and direct others so that you have a cohesive team. Those are the types of skills that you also can pick up as a graduate student. You don't necessarily need that postdoc. I picked them up in both, but you have all the tips now and you can do it. You can expedite those types of experiences for yourself. So pretty much that's what my day in the life looks like. I'm constantly putting out fires. I go in with a plan thinking I'm going to do something, and inevitably I'm not necessarily doing that. But just making sure that you are comfortable and can lean into the idea that the only difference between somebody who's in that position and perhaps you is that we are comfortable with triage. It's never going to stop. You're never going to catch up. You just have to be okay with, turning in on a deadline. So I would say that that's the other tip that you learn, and you can learn as a graduate student. Just be comfortable with it. It doesn't make you a bad person that you can't catch up. Nobody catches up. All right. So SACNAS. So SACNAS is the Society for the Advancement of Chicanos, Hispanics, and Native Americans in Science. This is a national organization that has an annual conference, an annual leadership institute, and various other activities that go throughout the year. They're also an organization that supports chapters in your local, colleges, universities. I know that there's chapters also in industry. So it's something to get involved with, and perhaps this is not your passion. This is where my values lie and where my passions lie. But perhaps there is an organization out there that is very valuable to you, that you can be a part of as well, to love what it is that you do, right? So this is why every day I wake up and I'm thrilled to go to work, because I'm feeding my passion. I feel like I'm making a difference, and SACNAS is a national organization that helps me do that. So in addition to being a part of SACNAS as a student, right? So I took advantage of all of the resources they had to offer, like the mentoring. I'm happy to say that I'm now able to give back to that society either as an advisor, so I advised the chapter that was at UCLA. I'm currently trying to muster up a chapter at the University of San Diego. But now I also get to be a part of that executive board. And so even though, you might not start off at the executive board, I certainly did not. I did apply to be a part of it in previous years and didn't get in. I did participate in some of the activities, like we have our moderators here participating as the moderator, right? So you can engage in these types of activities and then move on, hopefully, into these leadership roles. And so this is just one more vehicle for me to continue to do what it is that I love, and that's, again, to mentor others and to bring them up just like I was brought up by my mentors. And so a day in the life of this looks like a lot of leadership, a lot of advising, and a lot of mentoring and looking at policy and hopefully setting policy for government in terms of funding and where that funding lands so that we can help to increase diversity. And when I say diversity, I'm not just talking about ethnic minorities. I'm talking about anybody who is not represented. So whoever is not at that table, the scientific table, that's what we're trying to bring in, right? So that's another way that I love what I do. And then the other thing that I currently do is that I am a master facilitator. I love the idea of having master anything in front of my name. I feel like almost like a wrestler or something. And so this was an opportunity that came to me because of the work that I was doing in advising students and leading workshops to teach students how to engage with their mentors. So I had a call from this group from the University of Wisconsin-Madison wanting to know if I was willing to travel internationally to teach mentoring skills to clinicians in Panama. And so there was going to be a group of people from South American and Central American countries, and they were looking for somebody that was bilingual that did this type of work. And so I went off and I did that, and now I am part of this cadre of master facilitators that gets to travel nationally to teach others how to mentor students in research activities with the ultimate goal of diversifying the biomedical sciences. And so again, I think the idea that was put forth in terms of opening yourself up to opportunities is a really good one. I generally say yes to things, and if they're in line with my vision, with my goals, with my passion, then I continue on with those. If they're not, I end up putting someone else. No, I can't do that again, but I have another person that could potentially do this because it's in line with their passions. But even though it feels like you can't take on one more thing, this is how I end up getting a lot of the work that I do, is by saying yes to, I would say, a majority of things. I'm here today. So I said yes to this one too. So essentially, yeah, we go around the country and we teach others how to mentor undergrads, grads, postdocs, junior level faculty. And so it's a wonderful thing. Again, it feeds my passion. So as I mentioned before, some of the skills I utilize for directing undergraduate research programs, it includes the administration of programs. So if you've never participated, there is an undergraduate research center director at your university that is dying to have you participate in a panel to talk to undergraduates about your own trajectory, or perhaps lead a group on those skills needed as a graduate student. Go seek them out. They will love you. They will take you on. You can get those types of experiences in administration of programs through those types of experiences. Grant writing, I've talked about. Administration of people. So definitely you would want to engage in some sort of internship or a short-term opportunity where you can interact with people and start to learn yourself and start to learn others, and also pick up other skills. I think that the idea of reading literature is a really important one, whether it be your own scientific discipline or in how to mentor others and what's actually working. Teaching, mentoring, same thing. You can pick these up as a graduate student. You don't need a postdoc to pick these things up. You can teach now at your own university and in other places. For SACNAS, some of the skills that I utilize are research. Definitely, I am leading an initiative right now to do governance committee for data management and evaluation for SACNAS. I think it's important for anybody to be able to know where they've been, set up a baseline to be able to set goals for the future, and it's one of the things that we currently do, but we want to formalize that more. So my research skills are definitely coming into play for SACNAS. Leadership as well, and you can pick up leadership skills by leading some of these modules at your own university, hopefully for an undergraduate research director, and then mentoring. If you haven't mentored an undergraduate in research activities, do so immediately, because that is a perfect way to learn those skills and to begin to learn how to interact with others. And if your university is looking for mentor training, hit me up. I'm happy to connect you with the NRMN people. All right, the skills I use for NRMN, same thing, mentoring, teaching. The ability to get up in front of others and, communicate, something that you'll definitely need. So in terms of, looking at just mentoring skills, those are skills that you can pick up by reading the literature as well as by actually doing it. Same thing with leadership. We mentioned before some of the ways that you can pick these up, and then always the research. So this definitely feeds into the research that I'm doing as well in terms of the mentoring and what specifically about that mentoring is helping undergraduates pursue research-based academics and careers. So how to acquire the skills, I've just mentioned that. Am I a good candidate for these types of positions? If you feel energized when you are mentoring others, when you are teaching, when you are doing research, that's you, the real you, telling you that, yes, I'm a good fit for those positions. If you walk away exhausted and not necessarily energized, that's probably telling you that, either you're taking on too much or you're not doing exactly, like maybe you're doing the right type of, you're doing research but not doing it in something that you love. So perhaps you can switch a little bit. Maybe that would help focus you. But that is definitely how I gauge everything. I have that internal compass. Do I feel energized? If I do, I pursue that. If I don't, I say thank you for the opportunity, and then I move on to something else. How can I get these types of positions? I've mentioned there's always a director somewhere that's dying to have you come into the office and help out for free. But these are positions, like the Director of Undergraduate Research is an academic position. It falls usually, I would say probably 90% of the universities, under the Office of the Provost. So Provost is overseeing everything, the college, the schools. The Provost is everywhere and nowhere, right? They oversee everything. And so if you're looking for these types of positions, this is not a student support position. You wouldn't do a search looking at student support. You would do a search for undergraduate research, or you would look for positions in the provost office. And it is an academic position. It's not a position that is student support services, even though a lot of what you do is supporting those students. And then I guess the other thing that I wanted to mention is that I am currently hiring. If anyone's looking to come to San Diego, I'm looking for a program coordinator, and I'm also looking for somebody that has those mad skills in social science research, because again, I'm not trained as a social scientist, and so it would be fantastic to be able to team up with someone that has those social science skills or is wanting to learn them. So we can send you to our School of Education to learn them, and then you can come back and work for us. So I am hiring, but definitely that's the way you find these positions, that you're looking for the Office of the Provost, you're looking for undergraduate research. If you're interested in diversity, keyword diversity, and that will help you find them. And so if you have any questions, my email is also up there. It's also on the slides that you've received, and I am in San Diego. It's glorious out there. Come join me. All right, thank you.